The most fundamental things about Flat Earth is seldom talked about by Flat Earth channel. Let's take a look at what I'm meaning by that. First of all, I want to thank all my patrons, members, donors and subscribers. All of you are important for me. Thank you very much. According to members of the Flat Earth cult, they hide the truth about the shape of the Earth. They lie about lunar landings, Antarctica, gravity, and a lot other things. Usually, Flat Earthers have a very vague explanation. NASA is lying, the Freemasons have the power, New World Order. Yes, you have probably heard it before. And often the reason is to hide God for some mysterious reason. I've looked for Flat Earth channels that in detail explain this, but it's hard to find. But perhaps I found it. On the channel Founded Earth Brothers, they have released 2 videos which they call Who They Are, Why They Lie. Sounds like the type of videos I was searching for. I assume this will be on God and about religion. And as you all know, I'm not a believer, so I choose to watch those videos together with a friend. She has worked as a priest for almost 20 years and I have also made research in theology. Okay, let's see what the Founded Earth Brothers have to say.
Hello family, welcome back. I wanted to share some things real quick that help better answer the question of who they are and why they lie. It's not something that will answer the questions in their entirety. I'm not going to have time to talk about every single little group and organization, but there are some main players in this game. It's a game to them, and they have an end game in mind. Prophecies are going to be fulfilled. There are battles ahead, and we need to be ready for them. And so understanding who has lied to us and what they have changed will guide you in a better direction so that you can pray the right way, understand who the Father is, what creation really is like, what we live on, those sort of things. And so the journey is about to get weird. We're going to look at a lot of different things, and it's hard to know where to start. This is such a deep topic, and I don't want to waste time. This is to open your eyes to how serious this battle really is and who we're up against.
Already after this short bit, my friend shook her head. Learn to pray in the right way. What does that even mean? My friend, the priest, she don't have an answer on that one. And by looking at this image, it's clear that this is a science denier, a history denier, and a denier of reality. Let's move on.
And I want to start by looking back at some things we've already seen in another video that we've talked about with Rome, and how much the stuff we have seen looks like predictive programming. That's what we call it. Almost like these people were psychic that did these paintings, and that's not what's going on at all. They take what has already happened and they like to repeat history and put in our face the sacking of Rome, the imagery we've seen with that and that was already in existence, and they like to replicate it with their own little, what you call crisis actors. These are people, agents in place, whatever you want to call them, carrying out a mission, the divide and conquer mission as their goal. And that's why they look like this. That's why they do these things. It's not random. It's not like, oh, this guy just woke up and he wanted to wear some horns and some fur and have his shirt off. They do these things because it's in our face lies all the time, and you can get overwhelmed with it. I've seen people get overwhelmed with all these lies. I just want to expose them so that you can see how interconnected we are to ancient history, to ancient Rome, to Babylon, all of these things that a lot of the truthers have been looking into. And for those of you who didn't see that video where we broke all this down, the history of Washington, D.C. is very interconnected to Rome. And it shows that we live in significant times, that even the Pope that we have now is significant in their end game. And if you look back at the property records, of course, Rome was the original name of the place that the Capitol sits on. It was called Rome, Maryland, according to the property records. And the owner was a man named Francis Pope. And the nickname the Catholic Church gave him back then was Pope of Rome on the Tiber. And the reason that's kind of coincidental is because, of course, Pope Francis, not Francis Pope, is literally in Rome, and the Tiber River is in Rome. And so their little joke back then being played out is not a random circumstance or chance. And the fact that the oldest church in DC is a Jesuit church called the Holy Trinity is also not random. It is a big part of what is going on now with our given false reality. Okay, so to talk about these connections, it's quite the mind-blowing stuff. It goes deep, and I'm going to be going really fast through all of this.
A lot of speculations, owns theories, twisting history. This is plain stupid.
So bear with us. But you have, of course, here Pope Francis, and his name is not Pope Francis. That is his new title, his new name that he has acquired. And I like to thank Tony from Canada. If you're watching, this guy, I talked to him for like an hour and a half, and my brain almost exploded. He was just filling me with all these cool little facts and information, and he was telling me that the Pope's last name, Bergoglio, has the word Gog right in the middle of his name. And the reason that is probably significant, I'm not saying that it is, it could just be another coincidence. But when you look back at Revelation, and the names Gog and Magog are applied to the evil forces that will join with Satan in the great struggle at the end of time. And after Satan has been bound and chained for 1,000 years, he will be released and will rise up against God. He will go forth and deceive the nations of the world, Gog and Magog, gathering them together in great numbers to attack the saints and Jerusalem, the city God loves.
Interesting. I did find some hidden messages in your name too. Here is the first one. And then I did find this one. Is it about hell, or what is under meaning? And I did find one more. Wait a moment, I will show you all 3 of the hidden messages in your name. Look here. Don't you realize that these kind of games are only silly? Let's move on.
But he is the first ever Jesuit Pope. Why is that important, and why is that interesting? Well, let's look at the Jesuit oath. And this is kind of nerve-wracking to look at on here based on how graphic it is. And I don't know what YouTube will allow with this, so I will try to censor myself as much as I can. But it starts out by talking about who they are in the presence of. In the presence of the Almighty God, the blessed Virgin Mary, the blessed Michael the Archangel, the blessed St. John, and so on. And then their founder, St. Ignatius Loyola, this guy here, you look him up, quite interesting. He was their founder, and guess who he got his approval from to found the Jesuits? Pope Paul III. What's significant about this guy and the deceptions of the world that we live on? He was in cahoots with Nicholas Copernicus. He was also into astrology. Nicholas Copernicus dedicated his heliocentric treatise to Pope Paul III. And this
So, a pope who have contact with the early scientist is a evil person. And why do they look at the Jesuits? Can it be that the Jesuits is the one among Catholic groups that are best educated? A Jesuit studies a lot. A normal Jesuit priest have studied for about 15 years. Jesuits are often scientists. If you, for instance, look at Guy Consolo Magno, he's an American Jesuit, and he's an astronomer, physician, and a Jesuit, and he's the director of the Vatican Observatory. So he's a real scientist and he's a Jesuit. And of course, he knows that we live on a globe. This is the main problems they have with the Jesuits. So the brothers making this video is science denier. They believe that science is a danger for their beliefs. But my friend, the priest, don't agree.
and they have a dagger placed against their heart. That probably sounds familiar. If you're familiar with other secret societies' oaths, cut and paste right there. That's what they do. They are devout unto death. These deceivers, they have missions. That's why one of them invented the Big Bang, to deceive. They work really well together while we are divided and angry because of their lies. But these people, even Pope Francis here, he took his name from Saint Francis of Assisi, or Assisi, I don't know how you say that. And this guy, I looked into him, I thought, this guy, surely he's a good guy. You know, that's who he got his name after. Here he is with the sun behind his head. Surely he's not some sun god worshiper. But here is a quote from one of his famous songs, Saint Francis, where he talks about, "Be praised, my Lord, through all your creatures, especially through my Lord, brother, son." He is referring to the Son as his Lord and his brother. And I've seen a lot of people say, oh, Jesus is the Son, S-U-N. To them, they are sun god worshiping. And it's about to get really exposed here in just a second when you look at some of the things they do. You have the whole service here where they show their solar monstrance.
This nonsense goes on. He tries to find evidence that science is evil and that we belong to a sun cult and it's controlled by those evil men, Jesuits, popes, and so on. Let's move on.
Why is it important that it's called a solar monstrance? Well, look at the word solar. What does that mean? Well, the SOL is short for Sol Invictus. And AR, the prefix on that word, means belonging to. It belongs to their sun god, Sol Invictus. That's who it belongs to. Kind of like our heliocentric model. Helios is short for their sun god Helios, and centric just means centered around.
And of course, he's dishonest. Helios is the Greek word for the sun. So, it's a model centered around the sun. Exactly what we have in reality. Our planets are rotating around our sun. He continues babbling about this sun cult that he believes we live in. It starts to get a long video, so I will make follow-up videos on this. My friend the priest is quite shocked. She don't think this have anything to do with Christianity. Okay, this was all for this time. I will be back with follow-up videos on this one. Have a nice day. See you next time.